to share. We wanted to start first just kind of telling you a little bit about ourselves and how Bookshop fundraising came about. And then Chris is going to tell you about how it works and what it is. And anyway, so I'm Stacey and this is Chris. We've been married for 24 years. He is absolutely the love of my life, and we have gone through a lot the last several years. And so to try to make a very long story short, we met in college, we got married, and have been together ever since. And I was a math teacher. I went to high school or went to college, got a math degree, and became a math teacher, and decided very shortly after that this was not going to be the thing for me for the rest of my life. While I loved kids and I loved teaching and I loved helping, the school system just kind of wasn't my thing. So I opened up a cheerleading, dance, and gymnastics facility in North Carolina, and Chris was my partner in crime and helped me with that business, and we worked together and have poured ourselves into youth in our communities in North Carolina where we were from, and now here in Knoxville. Fast forward to 2020, and everybody has their COVID story, but our world kind of blew apart, and we were under a lot of stress, and I started not really feeling very well, and again, skipping through the long parts of the story. The doctors did a scan of my brain because they thought that maybe I had MS. And we went to the doctor a couple weeks later and they were like, yay, good news, you don't have MS. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. We found a stroke in your brain. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm in my 40s. How is this possible? And you really start to kind of question your mortality and rethink your life and what are we doing? And so having been, that we both went through so much in that time period, we really started to talk together, like what is important and what matters to us. We have 2 teenage kids, and we were really struggling, and our kids were struggling, and we were just trying to figure out, we have a lot of life left to live, hopefully, so what are we doing with it? I kept telling the doctors I didn't have a stroke. I don't know what you're I know my body, something else is wrong. In August of last year, you're not going to believe this, but I couldn't walk without his assistance from my front door down the street. And we kept not getting answers. And the doctors, I was like, okay, so I had a stroke. What do we do now so that I can feel better? Because you're not helping me, nothing, what are we doing? Anyway, it was a battle. I'm sure y'all know about advocating for yourselves. And long story short, I did have MS. So I was diagnosed in February of 2024 with MS, and that is when I feel like we decided that we needed a change in our lives. I wrote my first novel in 2018. That was my debut novel called The Secrets We Conceal. I actually didn't publish it until 2021, I think. But that was a fiction based on a true story, and it was about some childhood trauma of mine and how this man right here made a significant difference in my life. And he knew, but I wanted to really tell him. And as you all know, as writers, what's the best way to really share how you feel is by writing it down. So I wrote this story for him. I was a math major. My math professor was like, you wrote a book? What is happening? I printed it out on paper at my work. 3-hole punched it, stuck it in a binder, wrapped it up in a box, and gave it to him for Christmas. And yay, I wrote a book, and I thought that was great. And then COVID happened, and our world's changed, and I decided I wanted to publish that book. I did all this work. Well, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with writing. I fell in love with publishing, and then I went on to write several romantic suspense-ish novels. And my third one, I just sent my manuscript off. So. And when all of this happened with me being sick and our world being turned upside down, we decided we want to live the life that we want to live. And how are we going to make that happen? So we decided to invent Bookshop fundraising. He actually has quit his job and is full-time doing this and working to help grow our business. I have another business and a business partner that I own, and that's what I'm doing. I'm also in software, so I kind of have this unique, I've been a business owner for 25 years and very heavily into marketing, and I have a marketing background. And then when COVID happened, I left what I was doing, and I went to work for a software company, so I have a lot of software experience as well that kind of ties into my math background. And my husband has been involved in youth sports as well and was a professional golf major. I don't know if we have any professional golf pro. I don't know if we have any golfers in the house, but anyway, he's a fantastic golfer. He doesn't give himself enough credit for that, but anyway, we love kids. I love writing. We want to be able to live the life that we want to live, go where we want to go, do what we want to do. Life is short. Tomorrow isn't promised. I know you guys know all of these things, but when you're 46, it smacks you in the face. So we decided to create Bookshop Fundraising. Our mission is to create a positive impact in our local communities and communities around the country, hopefully, by selling books to sports organizations or schools, whoever wants to participate in a fundraiser. We donate 50% of the profits to the organization that is doing the fundraiser. So that is essentially how this works. Chris is going to go into more details on that, but it was just really important for us. I know how difficult it is to get your books out there. I know how hard it is to market. So we kind of took all of our skill sets and rolled it into Bookshop Fundraising, and hey, let's create a platform to sell self-published books to people that want to help raise money for different organizations. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about Bookshop Fundraising. We have a really awesome video, but I couldn't get it to work in the presentation, so we'll show that to you at the end. Yeah.
So just kind of the operations behind the store, everything. We have a website. It's fantastic. I'll give all the credit. She created it. But essentially on our website or through referrals, an organization, a school, a business, an individual, anyone. All they have to do is we have a form on our website. It's just called a Get Started form. It asks you some basic information: who you are, phone number, contact information, when you'd like to essentially do a fundraiser, which lasts, and they go for 7 days. So we essentially communicate with those folks. We create a 7-day window. We create what's called a landing page, and on that page we essentially email that out to the organization, who then the organization, and this is one of the reasons that was important to us as well, because we wanted people to feel kind of comfortable and safe working with a new entity that they don't know what it is. So we essentially send that landing page to the organization, and then the organization sends it out to their people, their network of people, and they say, hey, we're going to do a fundraiser, fill in, and all they have to do, the individuals put in their name and their email address, and that information then comes to us. So beyond that, we create a series of emails, communication, a custom website with our logo on it, and it has access to all of the books that are in our online library. Right now, I think we're at right around 60 books and maybe 17 authors, I believe, that are part of the mix. And that's it. And all of those things on an operations side, I schedule all those communications and emails so that they're automatic and they go at specific times and people receive them. And it's timely information like, hey, it starts today. Don't forget about this. Share this link. Oh, it ends tomorrow. All of those types of things. And then all of those funds come through our system. We have it all tallied, and then we essentially cut a check to the organization, the individual, the school, for half of all of the books that are sold. So let's say, $1,000 worth of pure sales. 500 of that goes directly to the organization. Within the 500 that goes to Bookshop, the cost of printing the book, the author royalty, because authors get paid per book that's sold, and then the lowest percentage actually comes to us to basically carry the operational expenses and things of that nature. And it's very simple. Will you go to the next one for me?
Yeah.
So real quick, it's 100% online. One of the keys to this, because we being parents, coaches, working with kids, we've done a number of fundraisers in our life. One of the ones that I always talked about when we had the gym, we did a pizza fundraiser with Little Caesars. And you could imagine, we had hundreds of families that participated in the gym, so hundreds of pizzas arrived. And we had to, they came on a pallet. I'm not exaggerating. They unloaded the pallet, this thing, we had to break it down, stack them up, all that stuff. So we gave
a lot of work.
We gave a lot of thought to the process of this. So 100% online bookstore. We have an on-demand printer that ships direct to the customer themselves, so it doesn't go to the school and then they have to distribute. 50% of all sales goes directly to the organization. It's easy to use, support the school, all of those sorts of things. And then what is the next one, actually?
The next slide is the authors.
It's back to you.
Yeah.
The other thing that we were gonna, and we can talk about schools here in a minute, especially because of the wonderful program that you guys are doing with Lenore City. We kind of had the same thoughts, and part of, if we were to do a fundraiser with a school, Stacey always offers her skill set to talk to anyone if they choose to use it. So I'll turn it back over to you for the author part.
Yeah, so we wanted you guys to understand kind of what it was first, but as authors, it's two parts. So Chris is always out there hustling, working, trying to get fundraisers started and get organizations. We've done several sports organizations. We have one school that has tentatively agreed to do the fundraiser, so we're super excited about that. But the other half is always getting books into the library, and we want them to be, obviously self-published books, and people who have a mission and kind of believe in what we're doing and want to support kids. So as an author, to get your book into the bookshop, you fill out an author application, which is located in the author's corner of our website. So Chris has some business cards he can give to you guys. But the website is bookshopfundraising.com, and there's an author's corner page, and it explains all of this. And there's a link for you to fill out and say, hey, I would like to have my book in here. You answer all the questions. And then we kind of have a committee that reviews all the books for quality, formatting, style. We want to make sure that we're putting good books into the bookshop and that they're appropriate. We don't, a lot of times people are like, oh, it's just children's books. No, it's not. We have adult fiction, we have young adult fiction, we have middle grade, we have children's books. We actually are starving for some unique like cookbooks, coffee table books, different things like that are just people will want to give as gifts and different things. We don't have books like that, so we would love books like that. Nothing's off the table except, we're not going to do any kind of erotica or things like that. Not that anybody in here writes that. Maybe you do. More power to you. I read 50 Shades of Grey, but it's not going into the bookshop. So I was going to
say, I'll use it as an example.
Yeah.
We have a wonderful poet that applied to be in there. I read, and I am not a poetry expert, I read many passages, and I was like, this is cool. This sounds good. And we were actually started to put her works into the library and I was reading more and other people were reading more. We got to a few where she made some references about baking, and it was a metaphor, let's just say, and and I was like, oh, we can't put this.
We had to call her and tell her, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry, we've gone through the process, but
yeah. So now we have a better system for vetting the books. We were kind of moving a little quick and dirty in the beginning, but so we do have a committee that reviews them for quality and all those things. Then once the books are approved, you submit them to us. So Chris handles all of this. So we actually collect the digital files from the authors and essentially kind of act like not a publisher, but a distributor. So we have an agreement that the authors sign that explains that you own your book, you keep the rights, we don't want there to be any confusion. We're not doing anything, but you're giving us the permission to print and distribute your novel or your journal or your book or whatever it is. We have nonfiction in the library as well. And then we put them with our printer, and that's how everything links together. So all our website that's built and the printer all communicates, and so books are purchased and printed and shipped direct. So for you as the author, there's no
no work, no
correct. You don't have to give us 100 books ahead of time and sit and wait and see and hope. You don't have to pay $1 to get your books into the bookshop and have any stock or anything like that. Now, there are some things with some covers and, you know, depending on how you guys have published your books, if you publish them with free ISBNs and they're on your cover, artwork, and things like that, we've had tons of authors that we've dealt with. We handle most of that for the authors. There are some children books. I don't know if we want to talk about that.
I think we can,
Okay.
let's skip that.
And then
Very detailed.
Understood. Then we pay royalties to the authors every quarter, and this is a very new business, so we actually just paid our first round of royalties this month, which was pretty exciting. So we've been doing this for 3 months. We've had about 8 fundraisers so far. We keep tweaking the process every fundraiser to see like how can we make it better. You know, let's move this on the website. You'd be surprised the analytics of the tiniest little details and what makes things sell better than others. So anyway, why is this a great benefit to you? Well, it's a new opportunity. It's a new way to get your book out there. Marketing, we do a ton of marketing for the authors. We do as much as we can to try to help celebrate the books in our library, talk about the books in our library. We are, I am in the middle of trying to minimize some of the work that I'm doing so that I can do more of the marketing for the authors. We want to start doing some like IGTV lives or podcasts or different things just to interview the author, just to get the authors out there more, because we have to promote who the books are and who the people are just as much as selling the fundraiser itself. We feel that we are putting your books in the bookshop in front of motivated buyers. These are people that want to support the organization that's raising the funds, so they're more likely to potentially purchase the items. It helps youth organizations. There's no inventory, low risk. I talked about that already. Cheryl had mentioned also donating to some other organizations. So as an author, you have the opportunity to have your own fundraising page. So we would create a page for you that you could link to your website that would have all of the books in it as well as yours. And you would have the ability to choose where the 50% from those books would go. So if you wanted to raise money for your own charity or whatever, the fundraisers that we do for the schools and the local sports organizations, they're time limited. So they're 4 to 7 days. That's how long they last, and then that store is closed. For you as an author, we'll keep your store open forever, and you can just link it to your website, and then anytime money comes in from that site, we know, and we say, hey, you earned, X amount of, your site earned X amount of dollars. What charity do you want it to go to? So the bookshop itself, which is what you saw, has its own book fundraising page, and we donate 50% of our royalties from that page to the Multiple Sclerosis Association of America, and then the Pajama Program, which is Chris actually did some vetting and found them.
They're a cool organization. They donate books and blankets to kids in the foster system in the United States. So when they join a new family that's supposed to be a great experience, hey, oh great, I was fortunate enough to have a new family, but it's awkward. So on their very first day, they deliver a book and a blanket to hopefully help them. I don't know. It was just something that was. My dad was adopted as a child, and you had childhood things, so it was just something near and dear to our heart. This is actually my son's soccer club. We start a fundraiser with them next Monday, so we just thought we'd use that website.
Yeah, so we brand it for the organization. So if it's a school, like the school name and logo would go there. People can click right there at that very first button to shop and go right into like the gigantic collection of books. I kind of know, how cool is that?
That will be a picture of the team, but I talked to the team manager. We actually don't have anyways. For all of our folks, that will be an individual picture of whoever the group is, whether it's a person, team, whatever.
There's a countdown clock that creates urgency for the fundraiser. It says 10 days, but that's because it doesn't start till Monday. We've already built the site.
We made it live to show you here.
So that they can, hey, there's 2 days left, 3 days left, whatever. And then we have a featured books section, so authors can apply to be in the featured book section. We do typically have a couple spots that are free, and then a couple spots that authors can pay to have their book in the featured section as well. Yep.
I was just going to say, I don't know if anyone even cares. We might be getting too far into the details. So you can see some of the pricing. Some of you might be like, oh my gosh, I sell my book on Amazon for $12 or whatever. Keep in mind, that for every book purchased, like if someone would buy that $25 book, $12.50 right off the top is going to the organization. So so essentially someone's buying a book for $12.50 to kind of just help people with that perspective, but that's also, because the price is higher, it's also going to the organization. So some of you, I just wanted to explain that in case you were like, man, those are high. But there's a reason for it.
We are still in the process of collecting data and kind of maneuvering these prices up and down a little bit, just to see what the sweet spot is and what's gonna sell the best. We started this as well, which is book bundles, so that if they buy, like to encourage more sales in the checkout, if they buy more books, which we actually need to talk about that just reminds me. And then this kind of explains how the bundles work, and they can it drops their book right into there. I'm gonna go back up to the top. I don't know how to navigate this so well with the clicker. But you can see if they can go up here too and see like these are all the different genre categories, so they can shop by genre. These are different, just specific larger categories, and then if they want to check out the bundles, they can see what books. Not every book is in the bundle. Kind of depends on pricing.
Yeah, any book that's under 20, like a $19 book or under, is not also in the book bundle because it's an additional discount. But
and then this is another place for featured books as well. And then one of the other things that we do too, like so, if we were to, let's say, do a fundraiser with Lenore City that you aren't set up, then we could put your book. We do this with some authors. There's a teacher in Arizona who wrote this book, right? Yeah. Lockdown. So she wrote the Lockdown book, and her school is going to do a fundraiser. So when you get all the way down here, we have it set up to be the soccer journal because it's a soccer fundraiser. But we can put your book as the author. Like so, when the Lockdown teacher, I forget her name.
Betsy.
Yep. When Betsy does her fundraiser in Arizona, her book will be this featured book right here because it's her book and it's her school and that kind of thing. So we have some play there. We have to take that out. Or no, you said we're going to do
it's
that.
fine.
Okay. So that's what an example. That's not our actual website. Our website is different that talks about the bookshop fundraising. This is an actual sales website that the school or the sports organization would do. And then Chris had this really awesome video made. So because he had it made and nobody's seen it yet, we're going to show you guys. It's a little promo on, that's really loud.
That is loud. No, that's the book one.
Oh, is it?
Well, you can play it for a second, but don't play the whole thing. So a lot of the books that are on the website will have a promo video. These are captured from actual reviews on Amazon, but every book in the library has its own little promo on here. But why don't you go to the bathroom?
I'm trying to.
And these will play on the website and in different functions. And actually, her other business is an event company. At like cheerleading competitions, and they have big electronic boards, and these videos will be playing there too because we're a parent sponsor.
You have to put in the mouse.
Ah. I don't know how to make that.
I just need to pull that off here.
You want me to start over?
No, you don't. It's fine. We've talked about it to death. So this is just a promo video again. It's showing how you can do a book bundle. They'll drop it over here. Then we take you to the checkout page. Just to show our customers when you do a 4-book bundle, you save $20. We're linked up with all these folks, PayPal. There's a few more of the books. This is a local school teacher here in Knoxville, Fancy Girls One. I think we're going to do a fundraiser with her at her school, Pond Gap. I think we've worn them out.
Okay.
Why don't we stop there? We're pushing 12 o'clock anyway, so. Does anyone have questions? I'm sure there will be. Yes, ma'am?
How many authors do you already have involved?
I think we have about 70.
17 at the moment. If I can speak bluntly for a moment, I think and this is speaking in general terms, but at the same time, I think it's kind of our mission. We want to get the library to, I think, somewhere around 100 books, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, with a good variety of books in all different sorts of categories. And if, you know, that's 25 authors that have multiple books, if that's 50 authors, we're kind of open to that. We want them to be great books, and we want them to fit the style and the genre of what we're doing, but we don't want it to be too many at the same time. Like, you know, for example, a lot of schools do Scholastic. I mean, they'll hand out a magazine that has 1,000, you know, and that, we don't want it to feel that way. We want them to be able to go on the website and, you know, meet the authors, meet the books, and understand. That's our school teacher down here. Where's Beck?
Beck Martin?
Yeah.
Right here.
So I don't know if you guys saw on there, Bravery. It was a book about sea turtles. She's actually, she lives in Wilmington, North Carolina, and she's literally, she and her friend, colleague are part of the preservation of the sea turtles in that area. So most of the authors, if not all of them, they kind of have their own story of why they got into writing and things like that, and we want to promote that as well.
So this is this is the bookshop website where that we use to promote the actual fundraisers, and we have a page that's all of the authors on here, and these link to their own website or their own social media page or whatever they have. So that's one of the ways that we try to help promote. We also have a blog, and every author that's part of the bookshop has the opportunity to share any blogs with us that they've done, and we link back to them and give credit to them for that. So we do all of that in here as well.
We had to sneak in a little Team USA during the Olympics in there, so.
Yes.
Did that answer your question? So currently 17, and we're very, very, very open to growing that number. And I don't think there's a limit on the authors. I think it's just once we reach a full library.
Then we might start to cycle some
And
books
again,
around,
and some authors may love it and want to stay forever, and some authors may be like, man, that was great. We kind of sign an agreement for 6 months to a year, but we're
When you go on the website, it talks about a monthly fee to be in the bookshop, which we do want to do that at some point, just because we are doing a lot of work and there's a lot of upfront costs in getting the books into the library. We order a book, we order a copy of every book. Chris actually takes them when he goes to meet with people and gives them away. So, you know, your book that we purchase to make sure the quality is good. We actually, pass those out and do things with those as well. So, did you have a question? Somebody had their hand up.
One more time, Cheryl.
I did, Cheryl did.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, first I'd like to say, great idea, great presentation. Thank you very much.
We're over time, probably.
Okay, I know that.
I think that
Also,
Yeah, okay.
real quick, I read Call Her Janie.
Mhm.
Terrific book. You're a great writer, a
Thank you.
natural storyteller. Loved it. And so I went to see, because I was writing a review, and I went to see, well, how many reviews do you?
Oh, yeah.
640 reviews. The book was published last year.
Oh, wow.
I told you I was going to ask you this, so you better answer.
So
How did you get 640 reviews?
Right. So
In a year.
when I decided that I really loved writing and wanted to write more, I spent hours and hours and hours reading and doing research and all kinds of different things. And so I started a street team. So every time I publish a book, I have a street team, they call it, and just gather people I know, people I don't know, to be a part of my team to help promote my book. So they share anything I'm doing on social media, they share it. I give them a free digital copy of the book, so they will read it and review it. Which, at first I was nervous about doing that because I'm like, I don't want to, give my book away for free to like all these people. My second book, I didn't do this with my first book because I didn't know it was a thing. So when I published Call Her Janie is when I had my first street team, and my goal was to get 50 people. Well, I got 100 people in my street team, and so I'm like, am I going to give away 100 free books? But they will post on social media and share about it, and then they write a review. And then I actually did a lot of Facebook advertising. like different than like boosting posts, like actual Facebook ads where they click direct to your book on Amazon. And you have an Amazon attribution link so you can track like how
And that
many
works.
books you're
Yeah.
purchasing. Yes, and that is where I got most of my reviews.
Really?
Yeah. Mhm.
Wow.
So
I'm not the expert on the topic, but I would say a ton of people on your street teams, your launch teams, are also like kind of social media book people. For example, she has people on her launch teams that have thousands and thousands of followers that do book reviews
Wow.
for authors all over, and she was able to get those people who willingly want to do it because they get free books and things out of
Yeah.
it. But she has many people on her launch teams that have their own massive social media followings.
yes, I'm bigger on Bookstagram. I do not like TikTok. I mean, I know that it's a great resource, and I need to get on there more, but I don't like being on video and doing all the things. So I do more Instagram, but I also do virtual book tours. So there's companies out there that will they'll do virtual book tours with your book. So instead of doing tours like in physical person, you have a stop every day on somebody's Instagram account, and they promote your book and talk about your book. And so, yeah, I mean, it's still a lot of work to get to that many reviews, and the Facebook ads. Like, you can see my other, like, The Secrets We Conceal was the first book I published. I think that one has 140 maybe. And I did the virtual book tours, but I didn't do a street team, and I didn't do a ton of Facebook marketing with that one because I didn't know what I was doing yet. Call Her Janie, I did all of those things, and then Keeping Janie is book 2, and I think I have 100 and something. It just came out in February, and I have over 100, but I can't remember, maybe 150, but I haven't done as much like marketing and that kind of stuff. I was also, keep in mind, I was trying to teach myself how to walk again for most of 2024. So I had to take a pause. Yes.
How do you decide which fundraiser you're giving to?
The organization is where the money goes. So like the One Knox, where you saw the One Knox picture, that's a fundraiser that One Knox has selected to do. So all of the money from that fundraiser will go to One Knox. If you have your own fundraiser page and you are promoting and you are selling books, then that money will go wherever you want it to go.
Get to select.
So there's
How about
multiple
the
things going on at the
Lenore
same time.
City School?
So we don't have a fundraiser set up with them at all, but we'd love to.
But if we did, all the money would go to
It would
the
go
school,
to the
to
school.
the high school, or the middle school, or whatever school is doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's just participating as one of the authors, visiting in the class and things
Yes.
like that.
Yes. I'm just.
But
Yeah.
the school that we our children go to L&N STEM Academy downtown. Great school. Don't field sports teams really at all. They have some unique sports. My son is a very serious competitive soccer player. He's pretty darn good, and he wanted to play in high school. So we were fortunate enough. He's probably going to play at Knoxville Christian School next year as part of their team, and I know the coach, and I just know a few people over there. So I've recently communicated with them, and it looks like we're going to do a fundraiser with that school, and the same thing. Probably make it like a week celebration of books. A lot of the children's books that we have too are both English and Spanish, so we're using them. The soccer coach, ironically, is also the Spanish teacher, so he's very interested in potentially bringing these books into his classroom and using them literally for the Spanish class, because it's a children's book, but like you'll have English here and an illustration, and then the back of the book, that same illustration will be in Spanish as well, so it's kind of cool. Anyways, that was all.